There are no inherently bad exercises, but there are exercises that are less effective, make you more prone to injury, or are just inefficient at achieving your fitness goals. What we want to do are exercises that increase our training output, keep our joint movements optimal, and ultimately allow us to stay in the gym long term. In this video, I want to share 10 exercises you must avoid if you want to achieve the best results in the shortest amount of time possible, while also reducing the risk of injuring yourself in the gym. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Exercise number 1, lying leg curls. The lying leg curl isn't necessarily the worst exercise, but there are certainly better alternatives. Let's take a look at the seated leg curl as an example. Not only is it safer on the knee joints, but it produces better hamstring growth and elicits the same strength gains. One study comparing the two movements found that the seated leg curl produced significantly greater muscle gains compared to its lying counterpart. You see, with the lying version, your hips are extended, while in the seated variation, your hips are flexed. And since 3 of the 4 hamstring muscles cross the hip joint, flexing the hips allows you to work them in a more lengthened position. In terms of safety, one study from Escamilla et al. Showed that a forward trunk tilt tends to decrease ACL loading, likely due to increased hamstring activity. This means it places less strain on the knee joints. So, if you had to include a hamstring curl into your training program, we recommend opting for the seated variation for best results. Exercise number 2, behind the neck presses and pull downs. While behind the neck presses and pull downs aren't as bad as we've been made to believe, the cons certainly outweigh the pros. You see, both movements force you to externally rotate the humerus in a loaded position. While this isn't necessarily wrong, being in this position under load places a great deal of stress on your shoulder joints and the smaller, more vulnerable rotator cuff muscles. Also, most people don't possess the shoulder mobility required to perform this movement safely or effectively. And if that wasn't enough, one study published in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research compared 4 different lat pull-down variations and found that the conventional pull-down produced greater lat activation than the behind-the-neck variation. So while these exercises can build muscle, there's really no benefit to performing the behind-the-neck variations over the more traditional versions. Exercise number 3, rack pulls. The rack pull, particularly performed above the knee, is not a bad exercise, but rather an inefficient one. For starters, the above-the-knee rack pull is basically a partial deadlift, focusing only on the top of the movement. The reason some might perform rack pulls over deadlifts is simple. It removes the legs and spinal erectors from the movement, allowing you to place a ton of load on the traps. There's no denying that this rack pull variation is fun and feeds the ego, but if your goal is simply to build your traps, there are far better ways to do it. And while I don't want to turn this video into a trap building tutorial, make sure to watch our video, The Top 5 Exercises for Bigger Traps, for more details. Exercise number 4, dumbbell flies. The deep stretch that makes this a great chest building exercise is the same stretch that landed this dumbbell chest fly on this list. While these may be fine in the beginning, the dumbbell chest fly gets more and more dangerous as you progress. Not only are you loading your shoulders in a vulnerable position, but once you're at the bottom of the movement, it can be hard to bail on the exercise without hurting yourself. Multiple epidemiological studies in the fields of bodybuilding, high-intensity training, and powerlifting show that shoulder injuries constitute a large proportion of resistance training-related injuries. That said, it makes no sense to take the risk of putting that much tension on the GH joint when there are safer and more effective alternatives to the dumbbell fly. Cable flies, for example, are not only more effective due to the constant tension provided by the cable, but they provide more variety, as a simple change in the height of the pulley can shift the focus to different areas of the chest. Exercise number 5, forward lunges. Forward lunges are a great unilateral exercise for the quads and glutes and are less punishing to your joints compared to conventional squats. But even then, they're not the best option for someone with existing knee issues. One study comparing different lunge variations showed that the forward knee lunge variation produced the most strain on the knee joint. Although it's unclear whether the participants were doing body weight or loaded lunges, we can presume that loading the exercise would only make it worse. If you're dealing with knee issues, the reverse lunge might be your best bet, as it was shown to be the most joint-friendly variation. Not only that, but it also produced the greatest activation in the glute max and quads compared to the others. Exercise number 6, kipping pull-ups. A popular CrossFit movement, kipping pull-ups are a high-intensity, gymnastics-inspired exercise that involves swinging and using momentum to perform a pull-up. While no one can argue that this variation of the pull-up allows one to perform more repetitions in less time, the question becomes, are you achieving the purpose of the pull-up, which is to develop the back musculature? According to EMG studies, both kipping and butterfly pull-ups show significantly less upper body activation compared to a strict pull-up. Not only that, but both kipping and butterfly pull-up variations can have negative effects on shoulder health, especially if an individual has not developed robust, stable, and highly mobile shoulders. To put it simply, if the goal is to build muscle maximally while avoiding injury, there's absolutely no reason I can think of to incorporate kipping pull-ups into your training. Instead, stick to what's tried and true, even if it means you'll have to leave your ego at the door and perform less reps. Exercise number 7, muscle ups. The muscle up is another momentum-based movement that involves performing a pull-up and then transitioning into a dip. While being able to perform this exercise is a great feat of strength, it really serves no purpose as it relates to building muscle. And similar to the kipping pull-up, it can also put unnecessary stress on your joints, thus increasing the risk of injury. To avoid the risks while still targeting the same muscle groups, it's better to stick to strict pull-ups and dips. These exercises focus on using your upper body muscles separately and do not involve risky or unnecessary transitions. And while they won't look as cool in the gym, I guarantee your joints will thank you in the long run. Exercise number 8, dumbbell side bends. It's important to understand that some spinal flexion is not necessarily a bad thing, as it occurs during exercises you're likely already performing. For example, during squats and good mornings, the spine is held in isometric flexion and is supported via bracing the core muscles. It's the dynamic, repetitive, and acute lateral flexion of the spine during exercises that can increase the risk of injury. Not only that, but it does almost nothing for your obliques. According to research, exercises that require constant abdominal stabilization as well as body rotation generate the most muscle activity in the obliques. Out of 13 exercises that researchers tested, the captain's chair showed to be the most effective for this particular region of the core. Exercise number 9, cheat curls. The idea behind the cheat curl is that the heavier you lift, the more growth stimulus to the biceps you would experience, leading to bigger gains. The problem is, if too much momentum is used, it becomes a whole body curl involving the hips and knees, causing you to lose tension where you actually want it. In most cases, more plates do not equal more gains if you sacrifice form. Instead, opt for an inclined dumbbell curl where you extend your arms past your torso. This puts both heads of the biceps in a lengthened position, creating better mechanical tension throughout the range of motion, resulting in greater hypertrophy. Exercise number 10, barbell skull crushers. When performed correctly, barbell skull crushers are great for the triceps, which is why they're a staple in most lifters' training programs. My only real issue with this exercise is that despite how many tutorials are available, it's the most butchered exercise by far. This could also be the reason most people complain of elbow pain when performing it. Not only that, but there will come a point in your training where loading this exercise can further increase the risk of injury injury, especially if your form is not absolutely flawless. In my opinion, the Smith Machine JM press is the best alternative. Not only does this exercise lend itself well to overload while allowing you to achieve full elbow flexion, doing it in the Smith Machine makes the movement far more stable and safe. So there you have it. 10 exercises every man must avoid, especially as you get older. While it can be hard to let some of our favorite old school exercises go, updating our personal exercise index with more effective, efficient, and safer alternatives will ensure we can keep doing what we love for years to come. Did you find this video helpful? If so, click the like button below as it'll truly help out the channel. Also, if you're an intermediate or advanced lifter whose muscle gains have stalled and are looking to jumpstart new muscle growth, grab a copy of our brand new program, Mass 5 Full Body. This is a high-frequency, full-body workout for intermediate and advanced lifters who are looking to take their physique to the next level. And right now, you can get an additional 25% off by using the coupon code MASS25. If you want to learn more, click the link in the description below. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe for more videos and don't forget to turn on post notifications so you don't miss the next one. Peace.